I don't ever use this corner to film, and I should, because how gorge. So gorge. Anyways, welcome to my 21 pieces of advice turning 21. 21 things I've learned in the past 21 years. I did this last year on my 20th. I don't know how it's going to compare. I can't remember a single thing I said last time. And it's probably all bullshit, so let's get into this one. Firstly, do not work for free. Your time, skills, and energy are worth everything. They are worth something. They are worth money. I've learned that the hard way by working with big companies for free, and then they just don't give a fuck about you and everything's out the window, and it's just, when there's money on the line, companies, people, whoever it is, tend to just unfortunately respect you more. However, that's not the main point. The main point is charge for your time, charge for your skill, charge for your energy, because it's worth it. The moment you stop accepting the bare minimum or less than, your life gets easier, and everything in that area of things leaves as it should. And I think what I meant by this was, the moment I stopped accepting the bare minimum and less than, really, everything in that area, whether it be relationships or whatever, kind of left, or like I left it as well, and then everything good came in because I had done that. Like, that's the only way I can put it. There is no right way to love or have a relationship, and by that I mean there's very obviously right from wrong, and there's obviously like love from hate. Like, you can't mistake one for the other, you can't cross that line. But what I mean by this is, not any two relationships are the same, no two people are the same. And I think, like, you guys know I've been dating this year, and I'm finally, I say finally, it was very quick. I'm in a new relationship, and all those relationships that I've had this year are different from one another in so many ways. And it was kind of crazy but amazing to also see like how different people can be and how different relationships can be. And now that I'm in a relationship that's so different from my last one in so many ways, in a good way, I'm like, oh, is this right? Is this wrong? What am I doing? What am I meant to do? And you just kind of go down that spiral of trauma, essentially. But you just have to remind yourself that no two people are the same, and no two relationships are the same. Yes, we don't have full control, but what we have control over determines almost everything. That sounds like it's putting a lot of pressure, and it is, but that's fine. As I said earlier, leaving something behind opened new doors for me to have all the things I have now. I think if I was in the same place I was in January, I wouldn't be working the jobs that I'm working, and I definitely wouldn't be in the relationship I'm in, and I honestly wouldn't have half the new friends that I have. And the life that I'm living now is 10 times better than it was in January, and it took me, what, 3 years to walk away from that whole thing. So although we don't have control over so much, the things we do have control over genuinely determine so much as well, and we need to like understand that ratio. Even when life is good, there will be worries and stress. I have said this so many times, but I am truly the happiest I've ever been, and even with that comes stress and worries. Like I mentioned, in a new relationship, after coming out of the most toxic one possible, you're like, whoa. And then on top of that, you have other stresses like health or family, or, you know, just life happens basically, and you can't stop it, and you're going to stress even when you're happy. But it's important to know that just because you're worried or stressed or whatever, it doesn't mean that you're any less happy. You know, the whole world isn't falling apart. There's just some things in life that happen, and you are worried about them like a normal human being, and that's fine. It doesn't take away from your happiness. Hurt people hurt people. Yeah. Yeah. So this was something I learned a very long time ago, but I think it's more evident as time goes on. Like even when I make new friends, I'm like, I learn all about them and I'm like, this is a very hurt person, and it shows in their behaviour, not even just towards me, but like just like in general in life, how they treat themselves. It's very obvious compared to how other people are who haven't gone through those things, and there's a sense of sympathy, but there's also a sense of don't keep that near me. Life will take you where it's meant to. I do think in my last video last year I said something along the lines of, if it's meant to be, it will be, which I'm pretty sure is on here as well. But anyways, I still believe that, and I think I'll always believe that. Like I don't think, like I said, I would be here if I hadn't done what I did in January, February, and now I'm in the best place. So like it wouldn't happen if it wasn't meant to. And I know that that can be fucked up as well, because then it's like, oh, then why did I get hit by a car? Well, do I look like God to you? Little bad habits can pile up. This one is really strange, like the context, but you're just gonna have to bear with me. As you can see, I've got some acne scarring at the moment. Only this one's super red. Note that one as well. It's looking so much better than it was. Okay, leave me alone. But saying that, I have a really bad habit of picking my skin, whether it's here or like even like my ear, like here, I'll just like scratch the skin. I don't know if it's an anxiety thing, I've got no idea. It probably is. I know like it can be an OCD thing, so, and I have OCD, so I'm like, I've got a reason for it, I just don't know what the reason is, but it can make shit worse. Like when I look at this, I'm like, but when I look at this, I'm like, you know, but my skin's getting better, so. This one is something that I think, oh, is that a spider web? It is, that's disgusting. It's fine, I caught the spider though. Big motherfucker. This is something that I didn't want to believe for a while, and then I did, and I was like, oh, true. The best revenge is to do nothing. The best reaction is no reaction. I know for a fact that there are so many people who are shook at several things to do with me at the moment. One, that I'm in a new relationship after being in a 3-year connection with someone who was so toxic, and the relationship itself was toxic, and I became toxic as well. They're like, who is this new person? What's going on? And I think in a way, that's great. It's like, I don't need to explain myself. I don't need permission. I don't need people to understand. I'm just gonna live my life. And that's enough. And I think like, if my last relationship, I think it shook him a bit, and I'm not sure, I could just be chatting shit right now, but I think it shook him a bit that I could move on, point blank period, and also that I had no reaction to him moving on, or in general to his behaviour. Like there's no, like before I would literally like cry, break down at everything, and now it's like, cool. And I think that shook him a bit. But I think not just him, I think it shook everyone up a bit, because it was like, who is this new person? Mia? Like, what? Who took over Mia? And it's like, exactly. Maturity can mean a low tolerance for others and things. Yeah, oh, this one's so bad. This one is so bad. Ever since I was young, I've been told by my therapists, counsellors, adults in general, you're so mature for your age, blah, 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 blah. And I am, and I get it. Like, when I was, how old was I? I was 14, and someone mistook me for an 18-year-old. I didn't look like an 18-year-old. It was the way I held myself, like the way I spoke eloquently, like shit like that. I know I've always been mature for my age, and my school counsellor back in the day when I was at school, because I'm an old woman now, she would say to me, like, that's gonna trip you up sometimes. It's not always gonna be a good thing, because people are gonna take advantage of that, and it's also gonna separate you from other people. And she's so right, and I hate it. Because like my tolerance is so low for people who aren't mature. Like, if someone can't communicate with me, I'm like, you're a literal child. I don't care if you're 28 and I'm 21 this month. Fuck yourself. Get away from me. You are immature. And like, I think, I don't know if that's a mature thing, but I think the maturity causes that separation. And it might even be an immature thing to be like that, to be like, you're immature, stay away. I don't know. But it really, the tolerance for people who aren't on the same level, I don't want to say that, but for lack of a better word, I really have such a low tolerance towards. I can't do it. If someone's acting like a child around me, I'm like, get me out. Actually get me out. Like, that's why being around Americans was really hard for a month. Like, it's okay for things to change. I think that one's just self-explanatory. Change is scary for everyone, literally everyone, no matter what anyone says. And as someone with OCD, it's very hard to deal with certain types of changes, like moving, for example, seems like the end of the world for me. But it's okay. It is always okay. You're allowed to change your mind. This is something that I've been reminding myself recently a lot of. Like, this is a really silly example, but the context that this came from is earlier this year I would have like a really strict routine because of my OCD, which involved like playing on my Switch, like Animal Crossing or Mario Kart or something. And I got so bored of that routine that I stopped it. But because of my OCD, it was like, this is bad, this is wrong, you're abandoning your routine, like this doesn't feel right. And then I got in the routine of not doing it. So now that like, I want to go play on my Switch, I want to go do it and enjoy it because it's not part of my routine. And I think it's just like, this was just like, you're allowed to like say no and change your mind towards yourself, towards anyone. Like, it's not the end of the world, even though it might feel like it. This one I wish I understood from a younger age, which I did, I just didn't listen, but now I do listen, so that's all that counts. But curiosity kills the cat is so true. Don't check on that person, don't check on that thing. No one cares. It's fine. If it's meant to be, it will be. Just leave it alone. The more you leave things alone, the better. That's how I feel. You will find your place. Yeah, again, this is kind of linked to this whole idea that in the past few months I've really found myself and my people, and I can't imagine my life without those people or certain things, like the jobs I do now that I wasn't doing 6 months ago. And again, that those things might change, but also I just feel more at home in this moment in my life. So if you feel like you haven't found your place or like you're lost, that will change. Being mean doesn't make you cool. I'm a fucking asshole. Like, I'll be the first to admit it. I can be a dickhead, but I'm always a dickhead within reason. Like, if you're a dickhead, I'm gonna be a dickhead back at you. You haven't done anything to earn my respect or kindness, so fuck you. But being initially mean to someone who doesn't deserve it is so strange. Like, you will see me calling strangers on the internet arseholes and wet wipes because they're attacking like kids, or like their opinion is like racist or whatever, some bullshit like that. And you know I'm talking about Twitter. But like, I saw this post on Twitter that was like making fun of a girl who was freaking out over a present that was like a Taylor Swift cardigan, I think. and she was like, people like this can't be real. I was like, shut the fuck up. You are strange too, just in different ways. Just because someone's not like you doesn't mean that they're fucking weird. You're weird to me for being mean. That girl is not weird to me. Like, the video itself is like, haha, ah, ha ha ha, cute, haha, like, you can laugh, whatever. But to be an outright dickhead about someone being excited and happy is weird fucking behaviour. It's strange. I am as human, if not more human, than I am a spiritual being. I felt like this for so long, ever since I started doing tarot. I mean, when I started out, I really felt like, oh, I'm a spiritual being, man. Like, I'm a soul, I'm a this, I'm a that. The 5D realm, the everything. I was just so on a different wavelength. And now I'm like, I'm human, bro. Like, what I mean by that is like the human experience. I'm not trying to deter myself from that. This is a good thing for me. I love the human experience. I'm not trying to live my life as a bit of air, do you know what I mean? Like, as a soul in some out of world realm. That can happen whenever it happens. Now I'm here, I'm gonna live like I'm here, I'm gonna be a human, I'm gonna have human reactions and emotions, and that's fine. Like, I think there's a whole thing of like spirituality where you're kind and perfect, and you need to just, you know, do everything so you are a good soul and your reincarnation in the next life. And it's like, shut the fuck up, because I'm allowed to be angry. I'm human. I was given that emotion, I'm gonna use it. I'm allowed to cry. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I find that stupid. That's also very extreme, by the way. That's not everyone. I have loads of friends in the spiritual community. They're my bestie boos. I love them. They're not like that, but people like that just drive me nuts. Trust your intuition. Yeah, this is self-explanatory. If I had done this a long time ago, I probably would have made life easier. Yeah, see, I told you, if it's meant to be, it'll be. I told you. Rejection is redirection. And I think when people hear rejection, they're like, oh, like in love, and I don't, or like, you don't get a job. And it's like, yes, but also in general, if something just doesn't happen, it's because something else is gonna happen. That's probably better. And that's always been right for me. So, you're going to outgrow things. Yeah, there are people I've outgrown that I didn't think I would outgrow. There are scenarios I outgrew that I didn't think I'd outgrow. There are even mindsets I outgrew. Like, when I was 14ish, 15, 16, I hated London, which is where I live, because I was like, there's nothing to do here, it's so miserable, it's grey, I hate it. And then now I'm like, if someone even attempts to move me from this city, you will die. Okay? This is my home, I love it, there is so much to do here. I love the greyness. Fuck yourself. So I even outgrew that mindset. So like, outgrowing things is very normal and natural if you are a healthy, growing individual. Lastly, you have your own path, not someone else's. And I think that's very important to understand in so many scenarios, not just like in a relationship, if someone's like, oh, but we'd said we'd do this, blah blah blah. It's like also in families, like parents and grandparents and everything need to understand that you are your own individual and you're going to have a life separate from them at some point, and not everything needs to include everyone. And I don't really know the context as to why I put this one down, but I know that I do agree with it and relate to it. So those are my 21 pieces of advice that I learned in the past 21 years. I have loads of birthday content this month because from 1st of July to the 31st of July, it is my birthday, which is why my man's text me every morning saying happy birthday. It's not, it's the 27th. But I do have loads of birthday content coming, so look out for that because it's cute as fuck. And I'm turning 21. Ooh, can't believe I just did that. Anyways, love you guys so much. See you in my next video.